university level.
Explanations converge in African students' learning of biology. I am Peter Okebukola. My co-authors are Wolabi Tunde and Folusho Okebukola. Let me give you a typical essay type question. In school exams, in public exams, in biology. It starts with, that's question number 1. It has 3 parts. Define transpiration, that'll be 5 marks. What parts of the plant are involved in transpiration, 5 marks. And then the one that is loaded with marks is explain. Explain how transpiration aids movement of nutrients from the soil to the tip of the stem, 50 marks. What did we find? We found that over the years, the students will do well in question 1A, in question 1B, but when it comes to explaining, it becomes a challenge. And so at the end of the day, you'll find that the students score low in biology exams. And the same has been found to be true in the UK and in South Africa about the students being able to offer explanations. So we conjectured that, well, there could be some socio-cultural factors that can account for students not being able to do well in that explanation bit of biology. And so we turned our attention to this, and that became what the problem that we wanted to solve. We had two major objectives. We wanted to look at how socio-cultural factors impact explanation, not definition, not observation, but explanation of biological phenomena by students. I want to find out how teachers, can make very good use of the factors. I mean, when the teachers, 1 minute now, when the teachers are aware of such factors, how they can manipulate it for best advantage to improve performance. The theoretical frameworks given on this slide. So how did we proceed? It was a case study. We had 2 schools. Incidentally, I had what we can call a hold on one of the schools because and that's King's College, Lagos. I was the chairman of the governing council of that school, and for 4 years. So in one of the years in biology, because I go there to teach biology, and the other school was another federal college outside of Lagos. There were 218 students. You can see the breakdown of male and female, urban largely, and you can see the ages, other demographic characteristics of the students. So 2 schools, case study involving 2 schools. So how did we proceed? The study took 9 months. Every week in the biology class, we had, every week the students were engaged for 90 minutes. 1 week of class instruction, the next week for laboratory work, and then we ensure that the students explain biology phenomena every fortnight. We gave them some homework where they will explain biology phenomena. We also give them tests every fortnight. They have to explain biological phenomena. So the answer scripts were graded. We had a team of graders who were trained, high degree of reliability, intergrader reliability, and we had 6 criteria, which I'm going to mention as I progress. So the 5 biology teachers were trained to score, and the scores were grouped into the following: high, upper 25%, average, middle 50%, and lower 25%. We randomly selected 5 students every 2 months to seek in-depth information from them. That, look, you gave the explanation about how the albino is formed or is produced, or how the blight occurs. You find blights on the leaves of some plants and all of that. So we picked the students and we interviewed them. And the sociocultural attributes were noted. So following our reviews after about 6 months, we aggregated the social-cultural attributes into the following: into language, habitat, religious orientation, socioeconomic status, and gender. So this gives the flow of the implementation in the classroom sessions. For the 9 months, the following concepts were taught: cells and molecules of life, diversity of organisms, Mendelian genetics, ecology, organisms and environment, plant and animal physiology, applied ecology, and biotechnology. So what were our findings? Very interesting, at least from our point of view. We found that the language factor played a very significant role. That about 43% of the explanations were influenced by degree of fluency in the language of the written explanation. In other words, if the student had good understanding and good use of the language, English in this case, because they were senior secondary class 2 students, equivalent of 11th grade in the US, then they were able to explain, they were able to write they were able to convey the explanation. So interview data showed, for instance, this person, Chuku, who grew up in a home where English is the language of instruction in schools, is the primary language of conversation. And he then, since he had fluency with the use of English, at home my parents gave us support to read English books and newspapers. So coming to school, he is now able to write, to explain, to convey the meaning, deep or shallow, of what the biological phenomenon was about. In contrast, students who had greater fluency in the mother tongue than English were less explicit in their explanations. We found that over 3/4 of these students were in the average and low category, and that 93%, 94% approximately of those students in the upper 25% were the high achieving group in the English language class. So language is extremely important, and after being team leader and the chief examiner for biology for some of the examination bodies in Nigeria, I found that those students who are not able, whose English competency is low, have weak ability to explain to do well in explanation components of these questions. What about other factors? Let's look at sociocultural factors, religious orientation, and the rest of them. Now, the topic on sex-linked characters, albinism, human diseases, were found to be largely colored by the religious orientation of the students. That is, okay, albinism, they find some, okay, explain why an albino results from two parents, a man and a woman, that are not albinos. So the cultural, a number of the students, especially in the low category, that are highly religiously oriented, will explain this on base of religion, that's what God has provided. Socioeconomic status and gender, we found, did not feature as discriminatory variables in the explanations throughout the course of our study. Let's look at another sociocultural factor, that's the student habitat. Habitat would mean where the student resides. So we have ecology, and ecology as a concept, we taught that for about a month, the component for this study. We look at food web and the rest of them, energy flow in the ecosystem. Now, the students who lived in the whose habitat was the coastal area, I used aquatic examples for the food web thing. And so it colored the explanation. It colored the examples that we're able to give, where the student comes from. Student habitat plays a role in the biological explanations offered by the students. Most of the students from the Savannah geographic zone. You see, the school I'm talking about, the King's College, Lagos, students from all over Nigeria. Those in the north, those in the Savannah area, and all that. So they gave explanations on energy relationships within the Savannah, meaning that when you are in a biology class, you are students for explanation, they will draw from the forces of their habitat to provide that explanation. Now, this reflected significantly in ecological concepts as students, regardless of their group, who copiously color their explanations in ecology with their rural, urban context. So as I close, yes, thank you. Our findings show that teachers should look beyond traditional variables in the quest to explain students' performance. And the studies that my group will be carrying out now, we are going to move towards explanation. We're going to move towards essay type, because all you do is give them multiple choice and all of that. But that's not deep enough. In this study, which took almost like 2 years, we went deeper into explanation, essay type rendition of their performance. So teachers should look beyond the traditional. The second thing, which is our recommendation, by the way, here, is that we need further research in science education to explore culture and context in chemistry. Professor Michael Ahove, you are in the room here. I can see you. You are a great chemist, and so we must conduct studies relating to chemistry, relating to other biological topics, to physics, to maths, to computer studies. So what we should do is see how our students explain concepts, explain phenomena, rather than just what is a logic gate, what is what's an acid, what's a base. We must go to the deeper level of it. If you like, look at Bloom's taxonomy, but I'm not looking at Bloom's, I'm just looking at deeper meaning, deeper understanding, which we can get from scientific explanations of our students. So thank you very much. That's our study. We're following up with Professor Wolabi and I are looking forward to extending this to other science subjects as well as members of our group. So thank you.
Are there any questions? Yes. Do you wanna come ask your question?
Professor Michael, over, you are dozing already.
Yeah. Professor Okebukola, this is your famous friend.
That's Alejandro Gaia. That's the greatest scientist of the year. Wonderful. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate you and your group for a beautiful study. And you have really underscored the importance of the work done in funds of knowledge. In other words, what students bring to the classroom. And the other question that you've raised within my mind, or the real question that you've raised in my mind, is what goes on when we prepare teachers to teach science so that either consciously or subconsciously they ignore what students bring to the classroom?
Yes, you're right. We have to reconfigure teacher preparation models to ensure that we're preparing them for the classroom. So when they get to class, they should be able to see the different mix of attributes that students bring to the classroom. And then manipulate, or if you like, factor in all of these attributes into their delivery system, into curriculum delivery, classroom, theory classes, practical classes. So I agree with you, and my colleagues here are very happy with you, Alejandro, because Kule, you recall that Alejandro gave us an outstanding lecture on contextual mitigating factors. So thank you, Alejandro. We look forward to collaborating with you. That's all.
Any additional questions? Yes, go ahead. Thank you.
I was really fascinated by the correlation with the English fluency, and I just want to understand if I understood why. It was the correlation was because they had to write explanations in English, and
Sure.
that's why.
Sure.
Okay, so other people might have known science, they just couldn't express themselves.
Absolutely.
And is there a relation also to the quality of information that is online in English versus local languages?
Yeah, there is, but you see, we have a national policy which states very clearly at the basic education level, actually at the primary school level, from primary 1 to primary 3, from a 6-year-old person, a child that goes into primary school to when he is 9, it is the local language. But beyond that, it has to be English. They are examined in English, they are taught in English, but I'm doing that with a tongue in my cheek, because most times the teachers themselves, there is a gray area up to about the junior secondary school, and then beyond that, it's English. They are supposed to be taught in English, and they are supposed to be examined in English. In the early days, while I was marking the end of the senior school certificate examination, you find some candidates write the answer in biology or chemistry in the local language. Of course, it's 0. Kunle, you people have been marking this. I don't know whether it has changed. I mean, the marking guide is in English, and if you then render in a non-English version, then that's a challenge. So what we try to do is to steer our students, our teacher preparation modes to fit with the national policy. The national policy was enacted, I'll tell you, for one or more reasons. But one is that we have over 500 languages. Nigeria is the most populous country in the whole of Africa. We have over 210 million people with about 500 languages. So what do? We cannot, no. It's unlike Israel, where you can do Hebrew. It's not going to happen in Nigeria, so it's English.
I see. It's so it's the lingua franca.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, fascinating.
Fascinating, yes.
Any additional questions? I think we have time for one more. Well, thank you very much.
Yes.
And we will now move on to our last presentation.